Well, I mean, 49ers fans could say that, well, the offense wasn't really the major issue on Sunday, that it was, in fact, the defense that was atrocious. Yes, the offense coughed up the ball multiple times early on that led to the snowball effect, but that defense just could not stop what was effectively the backups for the Arizona Cardinals. Colt McCoy looked like the second coming of Peyton Manning back there, able to execute on all levels. Many 49ers fans are upset with defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans at this point. I'm one of them. And who can blame him? Who can blame him with the way the defense played against Arizona? I certainly think you're entitled to that opinion, Aaron. But it is fair to say that most of his original starters were actually out on Sunday. So the question that I have in that regard, is that the difference or is it something more?
I feel like the missing guys in the secondary definitely played a part in communication and, tackling and just, that secondary is, what do we got? We have Tavon Wilson, Talanoa Hufanga,
Josh
Dre
Norman,
Kirkpatrick.
And then Dre Kirkpatrick.
Yeah, that's not a good secondary. That's not a good secondary. And, but Saleh, as much as I didn't like him at first, he last year proved himself very worthy with figuring out, even with all the deficiencies we had on the defensive side of the ball, and we still finished with a top 10 defense. So I think, like, I don't know, DeMeco seems like a guy that doesn't really adjust too well. Like, he just kind of, here it is. This is what I do. This is what we run. And you can't perform it, then I guess we're going to suck and we're not going to play well. Like, I don't see that. I don't see any in-game adjustments. You're getting gouged on the run and it keeps happening and it keeps happening. And there's no adjustments. Pass rush was abysmal yesterday. Like, they barely got any pressure other than a couple times. So yeah, I think DeMeco definitely has a say in it, but I also think, we're hurting again in the secondary, which brings me to a point in my own mind that I think going into this offseason, they need to really gut that whole secondary from top to bottom and try to rebuild it as much as they can with the capital and the money that they have. I don't know, because the whole like Ward and the whole Tartt thing, they're always hurt. Secondary, the cornerbacks are abysmal. So, again, play the young kid. Let's see what we have in Diamador Lenore.
Right.
Please.
Where's the hope? Where's the youth? Give them
me
in.
Something to cling on to going into next year.
Something, anything. Yeah. You could certainly point to injury issues. You could point back to roster construction. The injury issues here, you might argue, are predictable, right? We re-signed a lot of players that have long injury histories, and then those players ended up getting injured again. Not really a shocker. You could be shocked when it happened, especially the week one injuries, losing Verrett and Mostert for the entire season week one. I don't think you could account for that. Even if you said, why would you re-sign and count on these guys as your number one starters in those two, the running back room and the cornerback room, when you know that they are prone to injury? I will acknowledge the 6 starters from week one that were out Sunday: Jimmie Ward, Jaquiski Tartt, Javon Kinlaw, Dre Greenlaw, Jason Verrett, and Dee Ford. But, I think that even though we can say that other than Verrett, Kinlaw, and maybe Ford, it's fair to assume that the 49ers will get those other guys back at some point. Will that be enough to change the defensive inefficiencies? I saw and put on the comment earlier that said it's like whack-a-mole. It is new problems every week that are coming in. It just seems to be that we can't get a handle on it. Came in from JT. No consistency. So for me, the thing that I have to look at is the tackling was atrocious on Sunday, and that feels like an effort issue, which I have to look up to the coach on that. And then this was the first game that I had to question heart. I came to the conclusion at the end that the team did show some heart down the stretch, but it wasn't enough, and it seemed to really be missing for me in the third quarter. That was when I think I tweeted it out at that point that I really was questioning, does this team have heart? And that's for a guy like me that's as optimistic as I am, that sees the glass half full most of the time. That's really saying something. And it does seem that the 49ers suffer a little bit from a victim mentality. What I mean by that is it's almost like the problems snowball on them. It really reminds me, and I tweeted this before the show, it reminds me of Keanu Reeves' speech from The Replacements, where he talks about quicksand, and he talks about how the problems just come one after another, and it feels like quicksand, and then you're starting to try to do too much. And it makes me wonder if we need to bring Keanu Reeves in for a little pep talk for this team to get things back on track.